All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. You made it another week. It's Hump Day. Another great week on the diet. Today, we're going to be discussing a lot of topics. One of the main topics we're going to talk about is getting ready for Halloween and what do we do with that. I don't want to give candy out. Maybe a lot of you don't either. Now that you know it is, straight up poison. We have a couple guests in here. David Sonier, I interviewed him on Mission Carnivore last week. If you haven't seen his video, he's a retired Chief Petty Officer in the U.S. Navy. I'm adding him in now. And then Katarina, she's from Meat Fueled Living. You can call her Kat or Katarina, whichever you prefer. All right, guys, I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves real quick. So start with you, Kat.
Well, as he said, Katarina from Meat Fueled Living. I was actually on here last week as well. I am the 50-year-old long-time vegan turned carnivore. I've been doing it it's been almost 2 months now. I didn't start it to lose weight. I started it for an elimination diet because I was super, super sick. But as an added bonus, I'm already down over 30 pounds. So that's really, really great. And yeah, I think that's the gist of it.
All right. Looks like David dropped out. He'll be back soon. Looks like we got the English carnivore in the house. And so one of the things I'm introducing on this live stream and we're going to be doing going forward is highlighting new carnivore YouTubers. Because what we need to do, we are the algorithm, right? Viewers, you can join the fight. We need to fight the fight against big food and big pharma. And the only way to do it is the grassroots movement. So we have ways to fight. You can be a content creator like Katarina and I are, or you can be a viewer. Okay, here's David coming back in. Or you can be a viewer, and the way a viewer participates is they like and subscribe and comment and drive the algorithm. So I like to tell the story about when I started carnivore. When I started carnivore, I was miserable. I was 280 pounds, 57 years old, on my way downhill. I was looking up some parts to put into my Jeep, and all of a sudden a video popped up with Dante Ferrigno. And Dante Ferrigno from Ferrigno Freedom had this 126 days on lion diet thing. And I was like, what's this? And I saw the before and after picture. So I watched the whole thing and was impressed and thought, well, surely, I saw it was an old video and thought, well, surely he can't still be on it. I went and looked. He was. It was still surely great. It was an old video and stuff. Well, surely he can. So then, the reason that video popped up was because someone actually liked and subscribed to his channel and liked that video and watched it. And when enough people watch the channel, it gets served up to YouTubers like me. So by actually watching videos all the way through, and by doing a thumbs up and commenting and liking it, you can actually drive the algorithm and if you think it's a good video, get it out to other people. So the English carnivore, Great Britain, there's not a whole lot of Great Britain, UK YouTubers out there. And I want to kind of highlight some of them. My good friend, George Goodenough, the UK soldier that I interviewed on Mission Carnivore for episode 1. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out. He recommended the English carnivore. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and start. This is an inaugural, highlighting of a YouTuber on the channel. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Kat, do you have any thoughts on highlighting smaller channels or helping people start out in this and what it means for the carnivore community?
I think it's a wonderful idea, actually. And as a small channel, I'm a very small channel. Somebody that was following me actually had brought me up on Homestead How, and he did a shout out for me. And I got a lot of subscribers from that, which again, I wasn't in the intent that I wanted to become YouTube famous. I wanted to get my message out to other people, other women my age, maybe veterans, whatever, to, be able to share that. But just by him doing that, and it just was a remarkably unselfish thing to do. I feel that the carnivore community is just very supportive of everybody. You don't always see that, and it's like a competition out there. But in the carnivore community, everybody is trying to help everybody. I mean, you have helped me with so many things personally, with the technical things, because I'm no good with that. But I think it's a great idea. And whenever somebody comments on my stuff and says, hey, I'm following you, I have a channel too, I immediately go follow them. And I haven't got to the point yet where I'm comfortable doing a live by myself, but when I do, I would absolutely share everybody's channel. Everybody, let's just get it all out there so that everybody can hear the message.
Right. Okay, so we got David back, or Dave Sonier, the retired chief petty officer. I actually interviewed him too on Mission Carnivore. So Dave, why don't you introduce yourself real quick? Just tell us about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been carnivore, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my name's David Sonier. I live in South Louisiana, near Lafayette, Louisiana, a little town called Broussard. Yeah, I retired from the Navy after doing 20 years active duty. And actually, I retired from federal service a couple of years ago. But I was in the Navy from 87 to 2007, then kind of worked up until about 2 years ago. I was retired from the Corps of Engineers. And I've been carnivore since January 2023. So I'm coming up on 10 months. So basically 9 months I've been carnivore. And I was keto for probably a couple of weeks. So before that, so maybe keto from mid-January till about the end of January. And then carnivore probably around toward the last couple of weeks of January.
Great. Okay, excellent. And just real quick, I know you're kind of an endurance athlete. Can you just touch on that real quick, and how your carnivore has helped you with that? Because that's important.
I'm a pretty avid cyclist. I usually ride about 200 miles a week, but anywhere from 185 to maybe 210 miles a week. So I kind of average probably about 200, and that's it's not a goal, but I usually do 50-mile rides 3 to 4 times a week. So I usually end up with about 200 miles. And yeah, I really don't take any carbs prior to, during, or after, because I'm carnivore, so I'm really not eating really any carbs except maybe a couple of grams of lactose in the morning. I still okay, let's be honest, I drink some coffee. So am I not carnivore? I guess technically I'm not a carnivore, but okay, now I drink coffee black because of my heritage in the Navy. But I do quite a bit. I will add half and half, and I buy really good half and half. The only ingredients are milk and cream, so there's none of the odd chemical additives they use for thickening agents, or I don't know what they call it, emulsifiers, but
carrageenan or whatever it is.
Yeah, two tablespoons of half and half is 1 gram of carbs, which is lactose.
Yeah.
And I might have 2 to 3 servings. So we're talking about 3 to 4 grams of lactose during the day. So, I am taking in a cup, but it is an animal product. So I guess, I guess you can say carnivore.
But you're burning it off when you work out, and the thing is, you're getting results, right? And that's the important thing.
Yeah. Now,
hey, it looks like the English carnivore from Great Britain is also a vet. So that's great. Hey, we're all veterans, by the way. I'm an Army and Navy veteran. I retired as an Army Chief Warrant Officer, but I was Navy first. Kat is an Army veteran. Kat, did you do 8 years or 6?
10.
You did 10. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Dave was 20, right, in the Navy, and then you got out. You didn't do more. Okay. I did 20 and a half.
Oh man, good for you. Get that extra half.
I was intending to stay in, but you remember we talked about this.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I got my letter, my 20-year letter, and I was intending to go on another deployment and stay in. And during the deployment workup, I got mentally burned out and physically, and I just got to the point where it's like I can't do it anymore. And I really think a lot of that is because of diet. that we're on the standard American diet really does that to you. So, all right. So anybody watching this, if you're watching it later on a restream or you're watching it live, open another tab and just take a look while this is playing in the background. Don't leave the video. go to the English Carnivore in Great Britain and check out his page. And go ahead and check his videos out and like and subscribe and follow him and promote him, because the guy's out there laying it out in England. Which and here's his page. It's at the.english.carnivore. The guy's out there making videos and doing his thing, and the more people that do this, the more message will get out, the more people's lives will change. Because anyone that's been on this for more than 60 days knows it's a game changer. So, all right. Let's see if we got any comments coming in. If you have questions, please put a QQQ in front of them so we can find them easier. All right.
Yeah, I wanted to add. Can I add something a little bit about my my biking and carbing?
Yeah, please do. Jump in.
Yeah. Man. How a lot of athletes, endurance runners, they will take in a lot of carbs the night before, the morning, and while they're performing, and then, it's a lot of carbs, it definitely probably 100 to probably about 100, at least an hour. But, I'm taking none, and it took me a few weeks to transition to that. I went from carbing to going carnivore, but I took it easy on the miles on my bike while I did that. I did shorter rides, slower rides, and until I was really felt that I was running on fat, and was really adapted. And then I started increasing my miles, and I just got to the point where it looks like I can ride as long as I want. I've got plenty of fat on board for fuel. And that's how it is now. I take just water, and sometimes I'll take water and electrolytes with me, but basically no carbs at all.
Yeah,
that's it.
My son, I've talked about this before. He went carnivore this summer, and he just started his soccer season and his cross country season. And for the first time, and it's amazing because now he's carnivore and he's 14. He's not quite in high school yet, but his first 3 races, he broke PRs on all 3 races and shaved 2 minutes off his 2 mile, which is huge on a race, and placed for the first time he's ever placed, and beat a lot of guys on his team he's never beat before. No carbs, no carb loading, none of that. And he comes out and he just goes now. It's like a bat out of hell watching him run, which is great. And in soccer, he just gets out there. He doesn't need to get rested. He plays the whole game. He's a defender, so he can be out and play the whole game. It's pretty awesome.
And I can't tell you how good that feels to not have to just be worrying about, how much food to pack, how much to eat an hour. It's incredibly efficient.
Yeah. Now, hey, we got a question, guys.
And I'm not a professional athlete, so I'm just your regular guy. So, and I'm doing it with quite a bit of miles, but if you're just a typical athlete out to do some running or some short rides, you definitely don't need to do that.
Right. I agree. And once you get your body fat adapted, you don't need to do it.
Definitely.
If you do, if you don't get your body fat adapted, you're going to be in trouble when you try to do it. So we got a question from Rich, and I'd like you guys to take it. Kat, you can start with this one. Does carnivore help improve mental wellness?
Yes, it does. And I'll try not to make my story super, super long, but of course, I was in the service and I didn't have anxiety or PTSD or anything that I knew of, while I was actively in. But over the years after I got out, especially probably the last maybe 6 years, I started having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Really bad, to the point that I even was hospitalized one time in a padded room for it. That's a story. But I couldn't be around people or a lot of noise. And it was even little things like, I think it's called misophonia or something, like even sounds of people eating or things like that would trigger anxiety. It was really weird. And I had never had that in the past, but it was getting to the point that I almost couldn't leave the house. And then my husband would tell you that I was incredibly agitated, irritated, just a grump all the time. Just off all the time. And I just assumed that that's, you know, what was going to be my lot in life. The VA diagnosed me with panic disorder, tried to put me on antidepressants because I was very depressed, and I ended up having serotonin syndrome, so I couldn't even take them. So it was just literally living in this very heavy, dark cloud all the time. And I thought that that's just how life was going to be. And you couldn't put me, like, I would have to go to Walmart at 6 o'clock in the morning as soon as they opened if I was going to go to the store, because I couldn't stand to be around the people or anybody. And then the big C didn't help anything anyways after that. But the weirdest thing is I switched. If you know my story, you know that one of the catalysts to starting the carnivore diet for me was, you know, my mom passed away from health issues at what I consider to be a relatively young age. She was only in her 70s. She was my best friend. And I was in so much pain and so miserable and having all of these mental issues that I literally thought I was crazy, and I'm pretty sure everybody else thought I was too. And my little boy came out and saw me crying on the couch, and that was the catalyst to kind of start the ball rolling. Within days, and this is not an exaggeration, within maybe 3 days, I already was noticing this lightness in my step, this outlook of mine. Like, I was like, hey, I'm laughing and I'm happy. And then even my husband was commenting on it, telling me, you're different. Something's different about you. Then I started noticing that I could be around people. I wasn't having any panic attacks. I wasn't feeling this anxiety, or this just to go grocery shopping was so anxious for me. And then, you know, I went to two schools full of loud kids screaming and running around, you know, these teenage 12, 13, and it didn't bother me. And I joked around with the teachers. And then I even noticed my relationships at home are different. Before, you know, we were constantly fighting here, and there was just a lot of, like, you could just look at me and I'd be so mad at you. And now, you know, my husband spilled an entire cup of coffee in my new car, and I was like, come see, come saw, it's whatever, go clean it out later. That was never what I had been for the last 6 years. It was. And it started right away. And now I'm a whole new person. I think I'm the same person I was years ago, just happy and bubbly. And I'm not saying I don't have bad days, because I do, but it's so much easier to handle those bad days. And I don't understand how meat is doing it, but it is. It is. So that's a long story. Yes, wholeheartedly it does.
All right, Dave, how about you give a whack at it? What about mental health? What have you noticed in your mental health changes from this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I had a lot of anxiety issues and some depression issues, especially after 9/11, with the numerous deployments and just the uncertainty of when you were coming back and how long you were going out. And it took its toll on me really while I was in the Navy. Now, I'm probably a little bit different. When I got out the Navy, things were a lot better for me. Although for me, it was more of a weight thing. But I have noticed since, losing all the weight and feeling metabolically and feeling so much better, my anxiety issues are much, much, much better. And I don't have those tendencies to get these anxiety attacks like I was periodically. I don't have these. I don't have the same. I can tell mentally I'm feeling a lot better now that I've lost all the weight. A lot of my inflammation is down. I think my brain's firing correctly finally. I do feel a lot better. But yeah, I wasn't having severe anxiety issues right before starting carnivore, because one, I'd been out of the military for a while. I probably did some adjusting. I worked in a great job before I retired from full-time work, but I was still having anxiety issues, just not really severe, but they've diminished quite a bit since being on carnivore.
Cool. Yeah, for me, I mean, when I retired in 2019, I was like putting on weight. I was having a hard time controlling my weight up to my retirement. My last couple of years were really difficult. And then after I retired, of course, didn't have to PT as much or anything. And I put a lot of weight on, probably 20 more pounds. And I think my mental health definitely went down to its lowest point. And, you know, I lost confidence in being a man and all that stuff. I mean, because my body I just figured I was on a downhill slope to just hang on as long as I could and just exist, right? And I think that has totally changed. Now, you know, I feel like an athlete again for the first time since like the 90s when I was in college. I just feel athletic when I do things. It's pretty amazing. And now my mind is like, along with that physical change, is very optimistic. I'm not just like, I'm planning for the future now, which I was not planning things. I was just like along for the ride for life. I was just coasting, basically thinking, okay, I'll just reacting to things. And now I'm not reacting, I'm planning. Like just as something for you guys, by the way, KetoCon comes up every year in Austin here. And this year they're calling it Hack Your Health. They're kind of pivoting from KetoCon because they want to incorporate like carnivore and everything, since we are a keto diet. So they actually came up with Hack Your Health. Anyway, that's like in May. And I basically posted out, hey, let's meet up. We're gonna have a face-to-face meetup with a lot of people from these groups are gonna get together. If you can get to Austin next year or plan on it, it's great. If you go to my Facebook page, the Carnivore Soldier Facebook page, which you can find the links in carnivoresoldier.com. I actually have a discount code for tickets for KetoCon. So right now, early bird, if you buy before the end of the month, this month, tickets are $149 for a 3-day. We see all the, you know, Dr. Baker, all the doctors that are there, $149. But if you use my code, you'll get them for $99 for 3 days. That's a steal. And then, so if you think you might be going, you might just want to buy a ticket or two, and then, you know, figure out how to get here after the fact and where you're going to stay. But last year, Dr. Chafee was there, Dr. Baker, Dr. Berry, all the big guys were there. And it's your chance to meet them in person and watch them speak live on a stage, and keynote speaks, and the speeches is pretty awesome. So that's kind of stuff I'm doing now. Like I'm planning stuff going forward. I'm looking forward to, next year and I was not doing that anymore. I had given up on all that. So I think that's a big deal for me.
Hey, Larry, can I add one? There's some, to the person that was asking the question about can carnivore help with mental issues, there are some really good YouTube videos. I wish I just didn't jot anything down, but there's some, if you do a search in YouTube for keto diets and anxiety, or keto diets and autism and mental health, there are some excellent videos that where doctors are discovering that they're making great progress in getting patients healthy metabolically and nearly eliminating anxiety, depression issues. So there's quite a bit of research going on and doctors using this approach.
Yeah, I would say Dr. Chafee's got a great video with Chris Palmer. I think it's Chris Palmer. Yeah, Dr. Yes. Chris Palmer. And where he's actually treating schizophrenics and bipolar disorder and all these different things. And they're basically reversing it, which is amazing because no drugs can reverse that. So they're actually doing something that's just a miracle. Looks like English carnivore, Great Britain, served 10 years in the Army. All right, brother. Yeah, we've been there. We've done it. Like I like to say, we've embraced the suck together, right? I have a good video on that, by the way, if you want to check it out.
I love that. I love that term.
Yeah, I do too, because we've all done it, right?
Man, if I ever...
everyone is here freezing our ass off right now, embracing the suck, and that's what we're going to do. Standing in formation or whatever it is, you're going to do it. But anyway, that's part of the experience. That's what makes us. That's what makes a brotherhood. That's part of it. Okay, so what I want to talk about until we get some more questions is Halloween candy alternatives. And the reason I bring this up is because the last couple of days I've gone in the grocery store to get things. One day was to get dog food. I had to get chicken, which I grind up for my dog. And the other day was to get ground beef and stuff. I just needed some. And I saw the Halloween aisles. Oh. And then I'm like, all candy. And I'm like, man, now that I know how poisonous that stuff is, I don't want to give it to kids. I don't want to contribute to that. And I don't want to support those industries. That's even more important. I don't want to have my dollars going to Nestle and all these companies that are cranking poison out. So I started thinking, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I talked to a friend of mine, Olga, out in California, and she told me about, meat snacks. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea because I already have meat sticks. So what I thought I'd do is I've got these you can get at Sam's, I believe. Is that right, Kat?
Yeah.
You can also get them at Costco. I got them at Costco, and they're grass-fed, individual wrapped meat sticks, and I'm just handing those out. That's what I'm doing. I mean, you come to my house, you're gonna get that. Now, the other thing I do, I just to share about me a little bit, is I actually do what's called Halloweeny, and I've been doing it for about 5 years, maybe 6. And what I do is I go to Costco and I buy a bunch of those all beef hot dogs. I set my grill at the top of the driveway, and I put tables, 2 tables, one on each side, and I decorate the whole house with graveyard, flashing lights, haunted music, all that stuff. So it's fun for the kids. And you come into my horseshoe there between those 2 tables. One table's got the candy, used to. Now it's going to have beef. And the other table has hot dogs and buns. And I am going to still give buns away. I mean, I'll still do that because I'm not going to make someone hold a hot dog in their hand when it's hot. And then I'm going to have ketchup mustard out there for them. And all my neighbors know me because I do that. They're like, hey, you're the hot dog guy. And I can walk my dog out, and people are like, hey, what's up, Larry? They know me because it's nice. I like to know my neighbors, right?
People won't worry about about kids being poisoned by the weird old guy down the street.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. If you guys have any ideas in the chat out there or watching this video later of what you can do besides beef sticks, I have a couple I'll share, but I want to throw it to these guys and see if they have any ideas or if they've ever heard of anything that's good. What do you guys think? Kat, David, you guys ever heard of anything that you can do for Halloween?
When you mentioned that, I hadn't even considered that Halloween was so close, but I do remember now seeing candy everywhere. And usually we don't participate in Halloween mainly because the neighborhood I live in, it's not full of a lot of kids. We're like probably a lot older neighborhood. We're probably all the grandparents, that live in this neighborhood, and we'll go to our daughter's house, and her neighborhood's full of young families. But I kind of thought like the meat sticks, I didn't think about that, especially if you can find these little small grass-fed sticks. What about boiled eggs? I don't know. I was just everybody, a lot of people like boiled eggs, and that's cheap. You can probably boil up about 5 or 6 dozen and be pretty good. I don't know. I mean, that's just. Well, I was thinking off the top.
What about okay, so I realize this is a carnivore thing, but if you don't have to give food. I mean, I guess you could give like little cheese or something. It's not really necessarily strict carnivore. They have those little round, those cheese things. But you can really get your lawn egged by give them some pencils or some toothbrushes. Do something non-food related things. You can really become the unpopular person in the neighborhood. But I didn't consider doing meat sticks, and that might be cost prohibitive for some people because they're not cheap.
Yeah. It's not cheap.
Maybe just don't do a food item at all and do your Halloweenies and let them come get your hot dogs. That's actually just an amazing.
The hot dogs aren't cheap either, but
no, but those little beef sticks are also not.
Like the kids do like the hot dogs though. The kids, so I always have a couple coolers full of water too on ice because I like to hydrate my troops. So I always have that, like, hey, get hydrated, get some water because you're out there in a costume sweating, and out here in Texas. In Halloween, it can be hot. It can be real hot. Same in Louisiana, I know. It just depends on the year.
Man, yeah.
So,
how about handing out some books? The lies my doctor told me. Just hand a bunch of books out.
Yeah, they'll hate me. Yeah.
You're going with getting the trash on your lawn, most likely.
Yeah, I know. Halloween. Halloween. We've got a couple of good. Like to me. Thanksgiving is very carnivore friendly for me because last year I ate mostly I wasn't carnivore or really I was kind of keto like starting to kind of watch my weight. So last Thanksgiving I ate a lot of turkey and some salad, but Halloween is terrible, man. There's almost no alternative, how much are like buying all these meat sticks? That's kind of pricey, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, these are $16 for a bag full of them. And I won't get that many kids. I mean, I might have to spend $30, but I spent $30 in candy. I don't know if you guys did, but I spent $30 in candy.
Unless you can figure out a way to divvy them up into Tootsie Roll size, those little small Tootsie Roll, and have them individually wrapped or something.
That's just enough to make you mad.
Yeah, well, then also the problem with that is, so if you actually break the seal and then give it to someone, they can actually say they got sick and sue you.
Well,
where this is sealed, so I don't have to worry about any legal entanglements there.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, we got Rich Co. Small bottles of water, small keychains, erasers, and stickers. Stickers are always popular.
Yeah.
Need some Halloween stickers. That would be a good idea, probably.
Yeah.
Make little baggies for them or something. The kids will like that. Or little tattoos, those little temporary tattoos the kids like.
Yeah, actually, non-food stuff would be a good idea. Rich, that's some good. That Rich put out a good one there.
And the erasers are good too. I mean, for school, you know, kids like kind of cool erasers. So I might look into some of that. Well, good thing I don't have to take notes because we got a video to go back and watch again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about was the Halloween stuff. I think that I don't know anyone in the chat if you guys are have opinions on that. Are you handing candy out? And if you are, I mean, does that bother you? Or like I said, it's not just giving the candy to the kids, but it's supporting the industries that I don't support. I don't support them at all anymore. I mean, and I grew up loving Halloween and candy and all that stuff, and I can't do it now that I know scientifically what it's doing to our bodies, the biochemical reactions that it's causing, and I mean, I don't know how many people have died because of sugar, but it's a lot. So,
last year, my grandson, you know, he had quite the bag, the little plastic pumpkin, just loaded down with candy. And I mean, I was thinking like, God, I mean, even even then, even though I wasn't even carnivore at the time or keto really, I was just thinking, God, this can't be good, you know, because he was sitting there eating a lot of it, you know, and my daughter, who, you know, she was like, okay, you can have a couple of pieces and then we're going to put these up, and you can, and it did last for quite a ways. I mean, he did eat a lot of it, I'm sure.
And Linda's got a counterpoint, which is fine. It's once a year. I get that. I'm just saying that even more so than it's once a year. If your kid only ate candy once a year, and there would be no big deal probably. But that's not the case. I mean,
it's a giant overload. It's a giant overload of sugar, that's for sure. And they're already overloaded. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, there's almost not much you can do about it. And I participated in Halloween all my life up until.
Me too.
I mean, even as an adult, you know, I had my hands in the candy just as much. So, and I get it. I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer on this whole thing either, but you know, I guess we're just trying to figure out some alternatives.
Yeah, I'm not Debbie Downer. It's just really supporting those industries, right? Those industries only make sugar. That's all they make. And if you know that sugar is a poison, and that's the business they're in. It's like supporting cigarette companies, right? I just don't. So, and that's my stance, and I'm not going to pass judgment on anyone else. And if someone wants to hand out candy, my neighbors are. I'm not going to say they're bad people or condemn them, but I can control my yard, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just this is my area of operation here, and my AO. This is the way I run it. And Linda, if you run yours that way, I totally respect you, and that's that's fine.
I don't want to have the candy in my house personally. And it isn't because I'm not telling anybody my kids still eat. Well, I have one kid that doesn't eat any candy and another one that does. But, you know, I'm not going to tell them if they wanted to go trick-or-treating that they can't do that. But for me, I'm not going to buy it, and it has nothing. And I wish, again, that it is poison, and I absolutely don't want it in my body, but I have a sugar addiction that I'm currently still battling. And for me, if that thing, especially if it's Reese's peanut butter cups, the game is on and I'm going to eat that bag. So I can't even have it in my house now.
Well, Kat, that's what I was going to say too. Like, if I buy Halloween candy to give out to the trick-or-treaters, it's going to take a lot to keep me out of that bag. And, you know, and I'm doing really good right now. I haven't had I mean, I've had so little bouts with junk food, even like candy. I don't remember the last time I actually ate a piece of candy, and I don't, it's just in a way, I just don't want it in front of me anymore. So for me, I'd hate to buy it because I mean, it's just going to be like a big bowl of cocaine sitting there, for some drug
No,
addict.
I know. I do know. So,
And to be clear, my son is going trick or treating. I guarantee you, he's 14.
Yeah.
But he's carnivore all the time. He doesn't eat sugar all the time. And
Yeah.
I also know this about my son is he's one of those rare kids that's actually a moderator, which I'm not. He would go trick or treating and get a big bowl of candy and put it in his room, and I'd go there months later and throw it away because there's still a lot of candy left. That was not me. That's alien to me. I can't understand how someone can't just eat that candy. But it just sat there until a couple months later I throw it away, and he never missed it. He ever said, "Dad, these are my candy away." No, he never even brought it up. And that's the way he eats. Same with Christmas.
Yeah.
I put a stocking with a bunch of candies in there. He'd eat 2 or 3, and I find them months later in his drawer.
Yeah. Like you said, your son is carnivore. Okay, so he's gonna have one night where he
right
down a bunch of candy. That's fine.
I think that's fine. Yeah, and they're so young.
Yeah.
At that age, you're resilient, right? Your metabolism, everything's just, you can absorb all kinds of punishment. And when you get older, you can't. That's just a fact. When I see guys like Dr. Saladino, I'm like, yeah, he's in his 40s. When I was in my 40s, I was still pretty freaking in great shape. I did my warrant officer candidate school then. I was running 7.5 minute miles. I mean, I was in good shape in my 40s. Let's see Paul when he gets to 50, 56, 57 and see where he's at, right? I mean, your body changes, and I don't think you're as resilient. You can't take the punches or the poisons as well, in my opinion. That's my experience. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Halloween is one of those things, it's a once a year thing. Like, it's Linda. Yeah, I agree. It is once a year. And I mean, we're not gonna be able to stop Halloween, but we can kind of at least put our spin on it a little bit. But the kids are going to get candy. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Yeah, it's going to happen. And like I said, I'm really just choosing not to support the industry. I mean, that's the thing for me personally.
Yeah. I mean, you're putting your money where you're putting your money where your mouth is, basically. You're not, that's fine.
Maybe so the kids that's the angle I'm coming at.
Yeah, and those kids may love that meat stick. Like, wow, give me some of the more of those meat. Because man, I love those meat sticks, man.
They're good. Oh, no, my son loves them.
I had 2 of them on my ride today. It wasn't carbs. It was just some meat and fat, and I was just getting hungry. So I put down a couple of those, and that was it.
Heck yeah.
I've been making my own beef jerky kind of on that. Those meat sticks are really good, but also Kat's pocketbook can't afford to eat all those all the time. So I started making my own beef jerky, and I like to leave the fat on it. And I know people say not to because it actually spoils faster, but I don't think it lasts in my house. I think I eat it all in like a one fell swoop. So, but that's of course you can't make that and hand that out because it's homemade, right? But that's a really good snack too. I started doing that, and I know what's in it. I know what's going on it. It's really good. You got me thinking about the beef snacks and on your ride. Like, I carry some in my purse. I got bacon.
I do that. Bag bacon.
Yeah.
So you have a dehydrator?
I do. Yeah.
Me too.
I have a cheap
it's
one.
Great.
One of these days, I'm going to get one of those really big, like the freeze dryers. Have you seen those? One day, I think they're Harvest Right or something, but I just have a cheapo Presto dehydrator, but I keep it going.
So MacFun57 says, I lost all desire to eat candy. Strict carnivore 16 months. Congratulations. Very awesome. Before carnivore, I had chocolate sugar every day. Okay, I can relate. And there's chocolate all over my house and it doesn't bother me. So that's great. I mean, some people don't get bothered by it. I prefer it not to be in my house. I don't want it here because if it's a temptation I don't want to have.
I don't trust myself around those little small Cadbury eggs. I'm talking about, not the big ones, but they had these little bags that were purple. They had these little hard coated. I don't trust myself yet. I'm pretty sure that I eat that whole bag.
For me, it's the holiday decorated M&Ms. Like Halloween there'll be orange and black ones.
Yeah.
But then, you know, Christmas you'll have the the
Green and red.
Red, green.
Man, I was like, I'm gonna have to. That's gonna be like kryptonite, man. Like I'm gonna have to stay far away from those.
All right, we got a Thanksgiving idea, and so I'm hosting Thanksgiving this year, so I know it's carnivore. It's fantastic, and my brother and sister are both carnivore, so we're gonna have some keto stuff too for the kids, and for I think my brother's wife's not carnivore, but she'll eat keto. So, and then my sister and her husband are both carnivore, so it's primarily carnivore at my house. Some of the ideas for dessert, I mean, well, for meat, I'm gonna be doing some smoked reverse seared ribeyes for the adults, and my brother will probably smoke either a turkey or a brisket, and my brother-in-law will smoke probably a brisket, Texas style, right? He's come from Dallas, so we'll be having that, and then that's all the meat we're having, and then beyond that, there's some great carnivore mashed potato recipe out there that I've seen made. It looks like it's really hard to make. You have like gelatin and beet powder and all these different things, but it's supposed to taste exactly like mashed potatoes. So I might give that a go just to make. I would never do it on a daily basis, but I might do it just for Thanksgiving. And then for desserts, I think there's some great cheesecake recipes. I make Dr. Kiltz's ice cream, vanilla ice cream.
Yeah,
and do add vanilla to it. I don't put sweetener in it. I put a little bit of salt in there, and it's really good. So I might do that. So that's me. What about you guys? Do you have any go-tos you're thinking about for Thanksgiving yet, or have you thought that far?
Yeah, for me, we're going to bake a turkey, and there's going to be somebody smoking brisket. We usually get together with my wife's younger sister, and they love meat as well. They're not carnivore or even keto for the most part, but there's going to be a lot of good meat, like smoked brisket, baked turkeys. And for dessert, I was thinking about this year, I was going to probably make, because I have an actual hand crank ice cream maker that we've had in our family for 60, 70 years probably, and I'm probably going to just make a really good heavy cream. It's going to be basically a definitely carnivore, because I mean I'm only going to use heavy cream and whole milk and some egg yolk, and a little bit of vanilla, but I may not even use vanilla, and because I can eat that even without vanilla. I just think it's so creamy, and to me it's sweet because of the lactose in the milk. But I'll leave the option for anybody else. They can throw some blueberries on it or some strawberries and eat it as and because I make that maybe once a month. I'll make a batch of ice cream with just heavy cream and milk, and oh my gosh, it's so good. But
so the English carnivore bailing out. It's 1:45. Thanks for stopping by, guy. That's awesome. You got any more to add there, Dave? I just wanted to mention you.
No, just I can do good. Thanksgiving I love. I can get by with that.
How about you, Kat? Got any ideas?
So no, this is going to be my first Thanksgiving in 13 years, maybe, that's going to have meat and not a tofurkey. So I'm going to make a turkey, and I might ruin it. So I'm actually going to be out. I will be moved by then, and I'll be able to be with my oldest daughter and my grandson. And so that'll be a family gathering. So that's nice because they live away from here. So I'm going to make a turkey that I might probably destroy. And I don't know anything about those mashed potatoes that you speak of, but I do love potatoes. I miss them. I'm a little worried if I get something that tastes like something that I solely miss, that it's going to put me back to wanting it. So I don't know if I would do that. I saw a stuffing recipe by Dr. Barry's wife, Nisha, that I want to try. And I have seen some cheesecake recipes with, I do believe it's cream cheese.
Yes. You can make a carnivore cheesecake. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to try some of those things. So for me, I know that some people do eat some vegetables. Maybe it's more of a ketovore kind of thing, but I am on a very strict elimination right now. So I'm not doing any vegetables or anything. But I'm a little bit worried because I love them so much that if I start introducing them again, that I'm going to start veering that way. So I don't know. I'm going to have to get ideas from all you guys because I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me how to cook the turkey because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I'm gonna kill it. So,
Hey, you got something to say?
Well, I was gonna suggest to Kat. There's a lot of people in my area. I was wondering maybe yours. Like you can order a smoke. You can order some of these restaurants or some of these food places will. I mean, you just put it in order a week ahead of time, and you can pick up your smoked turkey the day before or the morning of, and you don't have
yeah,
to
we
worry
have
about
that
it.
here.
Yeah. You might, if you're kind of intimidated about doing that, without practicing making your own first turkey, you can say, hey, look, I'm just going to order a whole smoked turkey, try it that way. But that might be a pricier thing too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that and then tell everybody that I cooked it, and they're gonna be like,
Just put it, put
And
it
so
in
what you
your
hear, what you hear from us all, which is great, because this is pretty, this is about crafting your skills as a carnivore, right? Which is like prepping and planning ahead for holidays. If you go into someone else's house for holiday, guess what? If they're gonna have a bunch of tempting food there, eat a bunch of burger patties before you get there, and you will not be tempted. You may taste a couple things, but you won't be mowing down much stuff. You're gonna be full.
And
if you know that's so, this is part of knowing yourself. This is there's a lot of introspective, a lot of introspection going on here. You gotta look at yourself and know your weaknesses and your strengths. And you hear Kat saying that, you hear Dave saying that he doesn't want candy in there. She doesn't want to introduce vegetables. I don't want to have candy. And that's because we know ourselves and we know what our weaknesses are. So that's part of becoming a carnivore. It's part of honing your skill as a carnivore.
Yeah, I think the key, because we'll be going to my sister-in-law's house, and the key there is for me, is just to make sure that I stay full on meat and fat, because, and it's going to be easy to do that. Now, there's at her house, there's going to be pies, there's going to be all kinds of desserts, and I mean, last year was the same thing. I hardly touched any of that stuff. I just mostly ate the turkey and some salad, some avocados, and some pecans, and I did pretty good last year. Amazingly, I ate a lot of turkey though, and brisket.
Yeah. So Linda says that Linda G said I had the worst sweet tooth you can imagine. 27 days carnivore. Congratulations, you're almost fat adapted. You're getting there. You might have another month left, but you'll be, after 60 days, you're really going to notice a big difference. I think. Not tempted at all. That's great. Why? I had my eyes checked and pressure in them has decreased to normal. Vision's improved. That's a miracle. I mean, that's one of many you'll have. Trust me, your whole body will start changing. And then she said her weight went down as well. That's great. That's great, Linda. Thanks for sharing that.
Hey, the same thing happened to me. I had my eyes checked at the VA for my glasses, and my pressure. I guess they're testing for glaucoma probably when they do the pressure in when you do. But the doctor had mentioned that my pressure was much lower than it was the previous exam, which he thought was kind of odd. And I was thinking, that's weird. I mean, I've been carnivore for maybe a couple of months, at the time, but I was that could possibly be because of all the the minimal carbs might have some kind of an effect. I don't know.
All right.
That comment right there, Larry, that saying that that person wants to learn how to celebrate food, celebrate without food being involved. Yeah. That actually takes me back to one of the first videos that I had watched when I had switched to carnivore was a video, I think it was by Dr. Berry, where he had talked about how we need to start eating to eat and not make it so much of a thing. When you get together on holidays, you're celebrating your family and being with your family and doing that type of stuff, but you're not celebrating food. The food is there to eat. And that's exactly this right here. That's like for me to go to Thanksgiving, I'm going to get to spend Thanksgiving with my grandbaby, who I never get to see. He's 4 now, and I don't get to see him that often. And that's what I'm going to celebrate. And I think that's an important thing now, because I no longer eat to celebrate eating. I eat to feel full and I'm done. It doesn't have to have a pomp and circumstance. I live on hamburger most of the time, and that's okay for me. And that allows me to spend time appreciating all the other things, I think. And that's a really good point, what this person said here.
Yeah, I agree.
You want to go, Dave? I got to say, you want to go first?
No, I mean, that is true. I mean, you know, I'm kind of a Scrooge too around Christmas. It's like, it's like, everybody's just so obsessed with buying presents and gifts and stuff. It's like, look, man, I would love to celebrate Christmas where we just get together and it's not so gift oriented, commercialized. I'm a little bit like that about Christmas. Christmas rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm more about, hey man, it'd just be great to get all the family together and spend the day, cooking and being together and stuff like that without, the massive amount of expenditures we seem to do for Christmas. But Barry, yeah, I saw that I think I saw that video that was Dr. Ken Berry, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that, and that was a good point too. Don't make everything this about food oriented. Try to get it family oriented. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I noticed that becoming carnivore, I don't look at food as entertainment at all anymore. I used to like to go try new restaurants, try new foods, try this chef, try this chef. We go to these nice restaurants, and it was the dining experience, right? And now there's no such thing as a dining experience. For me, eating is a biological function like going to the bathroom. I just want to quickly get it done. It'll taste great, but it'll be quick, and then quickly clean it up and then do something more interesting in my life, because there's a lot more interesting things to do than to, if you think about all the time and effort that takes the eating and preparing food and dining out takes up in your life and your budget. And then when you go carnivore, I save tons of money. I mean, literally tons of money. I posted in my Facebook group a way to do BBB&E for one person for like $180 a month. And it's real easy. And that's with today's prices at Walmart. So if you want to find that out, go find Carnivore Soldier. Go to I think it's the Carnivore Diet Exchange is my group. You can find the Facebook group. And I posted that. I also posted on my YouTube channel. So it's legit. Those prices are from today at Walmart. I grabbed them, I put them in a spreadsheet, and I printed it. And, that's like 4 eggs and 2 slices of bacon and a pound of beef every day. And you can add more, and it won't cost much more, though. You're talking still under $300, a couple hundred, $250 a month probably for a person, an adult, not a kid, to eat all you need to eat for BBB&E. And you can get all the results you want. And, Kat and I were talking earlier, and I don't know about you, Dave, but we were talking about grass-fed beef. All my results I've got, which going from 280 to 234 pounds in 6 months, were all done on cheap corn-fed beef. I did not have the only grass-fed beef I had is like these sticks. Yeah. All my beef and my eggs were cheap eggs, and my bacon was cheap bacon. I didn't get
butter was cheap butter.
My butter I get is grass-fed because that's what they have at Costco. Cheap.
Yeah.
I grew up on a small farm. My dad had a small farm that was basically, producing food for us to eat, and we had cattle. And my dad when he was ready to, he'd separate the calves that he wanted to slaughter and send to the butcher, and he grain fed those. Yep. Now, he grain fed them our own corn, but I have tried grain fed. We have a farm nearby here, Brookshire Farm. It's a family owned cattle ranch, I guess, and they sell all their beef in the local area at these co-ops and stuff. And I've tried their food, their beef. It's good, but I like it just as much as I like grain fed. And it's expensive, very expensive, unless you buy a half a cow. And even when you buy a half a cow, it's still kind of expensive by the pound. I think it's like about $7-8 a pound for buying a giant half a cow. That's kind of pricey to me. But if you want to eat grass fed, go ahead. But I think you can get very good results even on, corn fed. Now, what I do know about the cattle industry is because I knew quite a few people in it. Just about all cows are grass fed for the first year of their life. Most cattle ranches, especially in this state, Texas, and in the Midwest, these cattle ranchers have thousands of cows. They're grazing on grass pretty much all year, and then the final, up until that calf goes to the feedlot, to the butcher, then they might be fed grain there, but those calves are with mom for almost the first year, and they're they're living on grass and milk from the mom until they're weaned. But even the calves you eat from Walmart, predominantly, depending on what meat industry buys them, those calves are almost all grass fed the majority of their life. It's just the final couple of months that they're going to be fattened up. But I just wanted to add that these calves aren't born and then put straight on grain. They eat grass and milk for at least almost for quite a while.
They have a fattening table in the book that they use to fatten cows, and if you look at it, it's basically the U.S. food pyramid. They give them grains, and grains make cows fat. Guess what else grains do? They make us fat, exactly like cows. It's just biology. It's biochemistry. So they know that when the cow grows up and it needs to get strong and big, it eats the grass, which is a good food. It's designed to eat. And then when they need to fatten it before they slaughter it, they load it up to get it fat really fast. And and the other thing is it marbles that fat. And that's the kind of fat that's the most dangerous for a living person is the marbled fat. And that's what you get if you eat a lot of grains and sugar. So anyway, just that's an interesting point, but it's a fact. So let's see.
Well, can I say something on the grass-fed thing real quick too, while we were talking about it? And I don't know, this might be the unpopular opinion here, but I purchased an eighth of a cow from a local farm here because I really wanted to support that, and it was grass-fed. Excuse me. When he came to deliver it, he had this whole and I'm not in any way, shape, or complaining about the absolutely wonderful people. But he had this whole sheet and this email of how to prepare the grass-fed beef because the steaks were going to be tougher than because I think he said it was something about because they're out walking around a field all day. I don't know. I could be thinking of something else on that, but you had to do a lot more prep to make that steak very tender. And it wasn't that the taste wasn't there because, it tasted good, but it was very hard to eat. And I have a texture issue. I don't know if that's from my previous, being a vegan, and meat is just really hard for me. Like, I don't like sirloin much at all because it's very chewy and hard for me to eat. But I noticed that with the grass-fed, the steaks and things were very tough, and you would have to tenderize them and you would have to thaw them out a certain way, and it was a lot of work. Where if I go to Walmart and or Sam's Club and buy that ribeye steak from there, I can flop that thing on my I haven't tried your reverse sear yet, but I can throw it on my Blackstone and boom, it's good, and it tastes good, and it melts in my mouth. So I don't know if that's the case with all grass-fed, if it's all that way. But what kind
of cow was it? Because I ordered a longhorn. Okay, so there's a difference in the cows too. I had a longhorn, and longhorns are very lean, and it wasn't good. I'll never get a longhorn again. If I had to live off beef and survival mode, I would eat longhorn, no problem. But if I'm buying a steak I want to eat, then I'm going to go for a better cow than a longhorn.
It was Austin area farm, but I'm not going to say their name because I certainly don't want any negativity to them. There's a lot of different cows. I could tell you offline, and then maybe you could tell me. But it's not, and I want to support them. But the texture of that meat and the amount of prep work to be able to cook that meat to get it to be the way that I need that in my. So I'm the unpopular. I prefer to go get the Walmart ribeyes, unfortunately.
I'm with you, Kat.
Me too.
I grew up on grain-fed calves, and I've tried grass-fed, grass-finished. Of course, they're all grass-fed to begin with. So they're grass-finished from the local place. I didn't see that much of a difference to justify paying a couple of dollars more a pound when I could, and I was more than happy with whatever meat I could get at the local Albertsons or the local Rouse's or Walmart, wherever. And I'd rather use my money to buy a lot of meat. And if I don't notice that big of a difference taste-wise, I'm not spending it, I'm not going to do it.
Especially when you can save money across the board on your beef and maybe buy more steaks and less ground beef, right? Like maybe you get more ribeyes during the year because you have extra in your budget, because you didn't, for me anyway, that's the way. And I actually like the marbled
Now,
fat in my ribeyes.
I did
So,
this particular farm. I bought 5 pounds of their 80/20. And man, I will say this: I plan on buying more of their ground meat because if you buy 40 pounds from them, they give you a pretty good price. But man, their ground meat, it had this very good. I don't know. It's hard to describe it, but there's almost a nutty flavor with that beef too. I don't know how it tasted like that, but this particular farm that's really close to my house, that was the one thing that I did like, and I just jotted down, like, I think I'm gonna buy more of their ground beef, and just, that's it, maybe.
Yeah, I drown my ground beef in butter, so I don't know. It's
too.
very good, the ground meat that I do have from them, because I still have some, but I don't know if it's because it's their meat or the fact that I put all that butter in there, because what's not good with butter, right? But yeah, the ground meat is good. I just think it might be good because of my butter.
Well, yeah.
I put butter and salt on all my beef. Linda says she forgot to say she has no melancholy or sad days anymore. Guess what? Me neither. I would wake up on a sunny day sometimes and just be depressed and not know why. I don't know. I mean, I would just wake up like, why am I depressed? This is a great day, and and there's nothing that was hanging over my head or anything. It was just, I was depressed. I had no idea why. That doesn't happen anymore. So.
Yeah, Linda, I agree. For the past couple of months, I've been waking up, I've been going to bed. I can even stay up a little late, because sometimes I'll read, or I'll, watch some videos or whatever. I don't know, a movie with the wife. And I'll wake up still just automatically at 4:35 in the morning. It's automatic now. But I'll wake up, and I'm in a good mood when I wake up. And I get up, I go sit outside. It's nice and cool outside, usually early in the morning. I'll go sit outside with some coffee, and I'll just kind of let the day kind of bring in, and I just kind of relax. And I've been very happy waking up in the mornings. That's a new thing for me too.
That's great. Mac for Fun 57 just purchased a half a beef, grass fed. Average price is $5.45 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that processed? That's processed? I guess so.
Wow.
Had them put in heart, liver, kidney, and ground beef. Where are you at, Mac for Fun 57? I'm just curious. That's great. Yeah, if that's.
Yeah, I asked if they did that at the farm that I went, and they didn't do that. But I can't eat the heart, liver. I still can't. I'm trying. I just can't.
I know.
Hey, Kat. This is what I. My mom did a lot, and this is what I still do once in a while. We have a local butcher in Carencro, which is a little town north of Lafayette where I grew up. There's a butcher there that does custom grind, and I'll tell them, look, how about, I want 8 pounds of ground of 80/20, like I just want 8 pounds of ground chuck or ground whatever, and grind in some heart or maybe a little bit of liver, and they'll do that. And actually, I like it like that, but I can't taste the heart. And I forget, there's another one that they'll put in there. I want to say it's is it pancreas? That doesn't have that same liver taste, but they will do the heart in there and mix it in there. You can get some, a little bit more into that. But heart to me doesn't taste like anything. And when it's mixed in with the ground meat, but that's because I have access to a butcher in the little town I grew up, and they'll do some custom. I call it, they do custom blend for me, which is pretty good.
I tried chicken gizzards, and I was okay with that. But if I get a whiff of the liver, I mean, I'm a 2-year-old. I just can't do it. And we even have like liver treats for our dogs, because we feed our dogs raw or cooked food. And if I even smell that, I'm like, it's horrible. I had to buy these pills because everybody says you have to eat nose to tail. So I actually use these, and you can't see them. I can't. And I don't even take 6 of them a day, which you're supposed to, because I want the benefit of it. But I don't know how you guys do it. I just don't. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to, because the smell is horrible.
Well, I tried to do with steak. What is the butter gal?
Steak and butter gal?
Steak and butter gal, yeah.
I remember a while back she had a deal where she bought some raw liver, diced it up into small, swallowable sizes, and then she froze them, right? And I tried that. but it's not fun, and it's not the same. But I do like liver, and I have liver, and so every now and then when I do my ground meat, I'll add in a little bit of liver to the ground meat just to get a little bit. I just don't eat the whole thing, but yeah, I tried doing the freeze the little nuggets and then swallow them, or
No,
I haven't had liver.
It's not enjoyable. Like, it's
I
like,
can't even cut it up for the dogs. I'm like, the whole
I haven't had
time.
liver since I was a kid. I hate liver, and I'm just
Oh.
going with Dr. Anthony Chapey, who doesn't eat any liver. I'm like,
Right.
I'm just doing that.
You just
But
trace
to be honest, though, a company reached out to me that has these liver crisps, and they're buffalo or bison liver crisps, and they're really thin, and they don't really taste livery, or they don't smell.
You tried them?
So I tried them, and now I do sell them on my website, and I do eat them. Actually, they're not bad. I can snack on them, because I told them to add a little more salt. If they add a little more salt, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I would try that. I'll look that one up, because I would try that.
It's on my website. It's nose to tail provisioning.
Okay, yeah.
Nose to tail provisioning bison liver crisps, and you know, if you're cycling, they're good for that, because they're like a hard packed beef jerky kind of. They're crunchy, but you can throw them in. And like I said, I hate liver. I mean, detest. Like even when I used to go to like Luby's and they'd have that fried liver, and I'd walk up and smell it, you know, I was like, oh, I can't. I got to go around this person, because I can't be near that. It just grosses me out.
I've been on long rides where I've put in these homemade pork skins, you know, and I put them in my back jersey pocket, you know, so that I can, while I'm cycling, especially if it's on a long ride and I just want to get a little bit of food in me. Every now and then, some biker or somebody's on the side, like, what are you eating? I'm like, pork skins. They're like, what? The reaction is priceless, man, because, you know, they're all carbon up, and I'm eating pork skins while I'm riding.
I do.
Rich Coat's got a question. Thoughts on the Lion's diet? I'll go first on this one, because I'm on the Lion's diet. I'm on a modified Lion diet. So I actually started on pure carnivore, strict carnivore, just, you know, well, relatively strict. It was beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and then I'd also have chicken every now and then, just, you know, but I didn't eat any. It was a zero carb diet. I didn't cheat.
Right.
And then I went from that. I did have alcohol, and I did have dairy. So I'd have alcohol kind of regularly, like 2 or 3 drinks a week. And I dropped from 280 to 250 doing that over about 3.5 or 4 months. So I was having great results. So I'm like, why change? You know, don't break it, or don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? So it wasn't broke. But then I hit 250, and my body was still changing. I was still putting on muscle, losing fat. My waist is getting smaller, even though I stayed at 250 for a few weeks. But then I leveled out and didn't change weight. And I'm like, okay, it's a log jam here. I'm stuck. So then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go Lion and see how it works. And I did a modified Lion. What I mean by that is I still have butter. That's the only thing I left in there. I didn't do cheese. I didn't do any of that stuff. No eggs. And I went beef, salt, water, and butter. And that's what Dante Fregno did, the first guy I saw in the video. And that's what a lot of guys do. Dr. Chafee does that. So I decided, all right, I'm going to do that. And immediately in the next 2 weeks, I lost 13 pounds. Now, I've been on Lion diet for a while, and I've modified it again. I do eat hard-boiled eggs. I've added some things into it, but it's not cheating. It's a modified Lion, right? I'm still doing primarily 95% of what I'm eating is salt, beef, and water. And I'm adding in a few things on the side as I want. Like if I sit down with my son, I make him breakfast. Sometimes I make myself a couple eggs and bacon. It's not going to bust the bank. I'm fine. I'm not, you know, I'm not putting weight on or anything. And, you know, going from cheating on Lion to carnivore is like not cheating, really. I mean, it's just not. It's just not. So that's my take on it. Any of you guys have an experience on that or a take on it?
Kat?
I don't really. So I may eventually get there. I'm not doing that. I'm still, I still do, I still eat fish. I'm kind of fond of salmon, and I love my butter. I don't know, and eggs. I mean, we had chickens and quail, and they lay eggs, and it's the most perfect food. So I don't know if I get to the point where I'm still having symptoms of things and I don't know what's causing it, because I had a run-in with dairy here like a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, that, you know, it tried to take me out. So as I start to go further in my journey and maybe things are still surfacing or I'm still having issues, I may start eliminating more, and I might get to that point. But I like the butter and the eggs and the fish and stuff too much right now for me to, and since it's working for me, I'm going to leave well enough alone. But when I stall out,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when you stall out, you'll look at it, right?
Then I'm going to look at it.
That was my thing. So they call that the sea lion diet when you add fish there too, though. You can do that. You can do a lion diet or a sea lion diet. That's a modified where you do fish and beef. And butter can be part of a lion diet because I'm doing it. I mean, obviously, you know, your body's different than mine and different than David's and different than everyone watching here. So you're going to have to look. This is part of honing your craft of being a carnivore. You have to learn. You're going to become the subject matter expert on your body, which may not be, and your advice can't just be blanket given to everybody else, because your body's different and it's going to react differently. You're not going to get to 250 like I did, and then, well, whatever you weigh, you're not going to get to a point like I did and have to do lion, right? Like I had to. So everyone's different. So that's my thought on that. David, what do you got?
I mean, if I don't have any problems with anybody wanting to go on lion diet, I think it seems to be a great diet. I mean, look at like Michaela Peterson, Dante Ferrigno, Dr.
Chafee.
I think, man,
Yeah.
Michaela Peterson, I mean, her transformation is phenomenal. And I've watched a lot of her videos where she really explained the process. But for me, I'm doing fine with what I'm doing. I'm pretty much carnivore with just a little bit of lactose from half and half. Like I said, I'm eating. I jokingly, like my wife says, you need a balanced diet. I'm like, baby, my diet is balanced. I'm eating pork, chicken, salmon, a lamb. I'm eating a great variety of hooved animals and the type of life that swims around in the sea. And plus I'm eating shrimp, crab, crawfish. I mean, I am eating a very good variety of food and I'm doing well on it. I'm still not really eating any carbs. So, and I'm not having any, I'm still not trying to troubleshoot any issues like some people have, like, oh, I'm still getting these flare-ups of something.
Right.
I'm still, I've lost the brunt of my weight and I am still losing weight. Maybe a pound or two a month, maybe at this point, not much. Cause I'm 174, 175 right now. I'm down 40 pounds. So my weight loss is kind of minimal and it's not so much I want to just keep losing weight. My wife thinks I'm skinny enough now. So I don't want to go too crazy with it, I guess, but I can see myself probably being at about 165, maybe close to 170, but that's not much further to go, because that was what I weighed in like the 9th grade. And I was a bony kid in the 9th grade. I mean, if I weighed 170, that's my early high school weight, So I'm going to definitely be lean. Now I do, my legs are pretty thick because I'm a cyclist. So my legs are pretty muscular. I've got, my abdominal muscles are pretty developed because of cycling. You're using your core to hold yourself up on the bike. I have lost a little muscle maybe in my arms because I'm not weightlifting anymore. But I mean, I'm probably going to start doing push-ups and stuff just to kind of balance out things because I am kind of overly developed in the legs and calves more than anything. But I'm holding some muscle, so that weighs more than, that kind of adds to the weight. But carnivore, I mean, the lion diet, I think is great. If you want to do lion diet, man, you're probably going to get great results if you love ruminant meat and water. But I got to drink some coffee, man, and
well, now here's the deal. Greg knows it does coffee on his lion diet. So
okay.
Again, you can modify because the coffee's not even carnivore, right? And plenty of them drink coffee.
Exactly.
So technically, technically, a lot of people can. So it just depends. Everyone can do their own thing, right? And we need to get rid of the dogmas and and say you can't be carnivore if you're drinking coffee. Yes, you can. You can be carnivore and drink coffee. Trust me, I've done it. I tried it. I added it back in. And I started clearing my throat a lot, and I realized I had some inflammation, so I cut coffee back out, which I've I didn't really miss it as much as I thought. When I did add it back in after a couple months, it was a lot more bitter than I remember. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't, my memory was better than the actual experience. So I've got a question on moose fat. So my opinion on moose fat is this. I don't know where you're at. Are you in Alaska or something? Because that's pretty cool.
Moose fat would be great.
Moose fat is legit because they're a ruminant animal. So it's no different than an elk or a deer. And I don't know how fat mooses are. Mooses? Moose head? I don't know how fat a moose is, but I imagine they're pretty fat because they're up in the Arctic, right? And they're probably heavier. Deer up in Michigan are a lot heavier than deer down here, and they have a lot more fat on them. So I would say moose fat is more than acceptable. It's very good. They're probably high in omega-3s and low in omega-6.
I know a little bit about moose. I know, like in the springtime after the winter, when they're very skinny. They've lost a lot of weight through the winter, but they're a huge animal.
They're huge.
They're massive.
Yeah, like 14 feet tall, right? They're like giant.
That's a moose is definitely, the multi-stomached animal.
Ruminant.
Yeah, it's a ruminant animal, and a lot of Alaskans eat moose. I mean, that's a big time source of protein up there, especially the people that live in the wilderness up there.
Yep, caribou, moose, all that stuff. Let's see. All my life, I've hated beef liver. I won't eat it. Since I started carnivore, I tried to fry it up and don't mind it now. I actually really like it. Same with sardines. Okay, good for you. That's great. Yeah. I like sardines every now and then, and that's got a lot of great. Don't eat sardines in oil though, because they're always in seed oils. Always get it in spring water. But they have a lot of iodine in them. They have their bones. They have a lot of organ meat in there. So you're gonna get everything out of a sardine that you need. It's really good, and they can't be farm raised because they're too small. So they're all wild caught.
I eat maybe 2 cans of sardines a week. I like sardines. I grew up eating sardines, and that you can eat that easily in lieu of liver, because I think the stuff that's in the sardines is what you're kind of getting from the liver. I think those trace vitamins and minerals that some people like from the liver, you're getting that in the sardines. So
I haven't been able to find them in anything but oil. I have looked.
They have them at Walmart, and
Walmart only has them in oil.
Just order them through Amazon.
And HEB has them. You can order them online.
I haven't checked HEB yet. I
buy them at HEB in water. Yeah, they're in water.
Kat, are you in Texas?
I'm in Texas right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Since being on carnivore, have you experienced someone treating you differently, maybe because of your appearance? I've experienced people saying, "Oh my gosh, you look amazing, and your skin's glowing, and you look young." I mean, I've experienced that. I don't know about difference. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but have you guys been treated different? Well, actually, Karen has. I mean, Katarina.
Okay. I get called Karen all the time. I actually just had that conversation with you. It's not because I'm on carnivore. It's an effect of being on carnivore. I do get treated differently, and I'll touch on that in a second, but I do get treated differently because I was a vegan before. So people look at me with a crazy side eye right now when I tell them I'm eating meat, especially some of the people that I work with. And also, I get a lot of, you're going to destroy your kidneys, your liver, a lot of that. But appearance-wise, and I just had this conversation, and so with Larry before we came on, prior to losing, I've lost over 30 pounds, and I'm tall, so maybe it doesn't look like I was overweight, but I was definitely overweight. I was invisible. Nobody ever talked to me. And it's not that I wanted to go out to the store and be hit on by a guy, or that wasn't the case, but you could talk to somebody and they would just look right through you. When you start to lose weight and you look a little bit fit and things are looking better and your skin looks better and your hair looks better, people see you again. It's almost like you judge people on their credit score, you judge people on what they look like. It's a really unfair thing, but I notice now when I go out, and maybe it's because I'm cheery and happy and I look approachable, and before I looked like I was going to bite your head off or eat you. I don't know. But I have people that come up and talk to me, gentlemen talk to me in the parking lots. And when I talk, I feel like people are actually listening to me. But when I said the same, before, I was invisible. I don't know if that is the same for men, but it was definitely a thing for me as a woman.
So for me, I would say that because I feel like I'm athletic again. I feel like I'm more of a man. So it's a confidence issue. I don't know about you, Kat, if it's confidence, if your confidence changed too, but in public, my confidence has changed. I carry myself much more confidently when I'm in shape and I feel like myself again. And I just feel like I carry myself that way. So I think maybe people around react to that. That might be one thing. What about you, Dave? You got anything?
No, I mean, I feel a lot more confident. My wife is like, she's happy with the weight loss. No one really gives me any grief of that I'm a carnivore or even a keto. Usually I don't, usually what happens is somebody that I haven't seen in a while, they'll say, wow, look how much you've lost a lot of weight. And I'm like, yeah, and yeah, I'm eating, I'm eating a lot better. That's usually how I leave. And then if they want to ask more specifically, I'm just say, well, I follow a keto diet. I'm in ketosis all the time. I eat minimal I don't eat a lot of carbs. I cut out a lot of junk food. And then, if they want to know exactly, then I'll just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I'll tell them. And they either say, well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, okay, whatever. I leave it at that. But the people that I ride with, every now and then I'll ride with different groups of people who haven't seen me in a while. They're like stunned at how much weight I lost. In biking, man, it makes a huge difference in how much better you can ride if you don't weigh as much. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't get any issue. No one ever. Look, I live in South Louisiana. I live close to the coast. We're in a cattle area, tons of seafood. This is a meat eating area. There are no vegan restaurants in this area of Lafayette. There might be vegan friendly restaurants where they have some things on the menu that are vegan or vegetarian. But look, there's no doubt about it. Like, people around here, you're going to get no grief if you tell them all you eat is steak. They're like, wow, I like steak. That's usually your reaction. This is a big meat eating area, and seafood.
Yeah, Texas, same way. We got barbecue everywhere, but I still get grief. I mean, I still get people saying you're going to get colon cancer, you're going to get high cholesterol, even though we know cholesterol has already been dismissed even by the American Heart Association. That myth is still out there, and it's still circulating that, high cholesterol.
I don't get.
By the way, if you don't know that was dismissed as something, as a what do they call it, a nutrient of concern, dismissed by the American Heart Association in 2015, very quietly. You can find the CNN article on my YouTube page, and on my Facebook page. But yeah, this is a wives' tale that somehow still goes around, that even doctors believe, and it's amazing.
I haven't been lectured. Yeah, I haven't been lectured by anybody at all about, hey, you're going to kill yourself. Now, my wife was a little bit concerned, so I tried to explain to her, and I tried to give her some sources, but she's like, well, go get a CAC test done, where they do an ultrasound, because I had one done about 4 years ago, and the score was virtually zero. I don't think it's going to be much higher, because I was always fairly healthy, but I said, okay, I'll go get it like in February, once the holidays are all over with, and I'll go get one of the ultrasounds on my heart area, and I'm doing blood work next week just for my annual doctor visit. Yeah, with the VA. Now my doctor that's the only person that actually will probably lecture me, will be the VA doctor. He will say,
mine did a little bit, but when she saw my numbers, she couldn't anymore, so she stopped lecturing me, and I was like, okay. Hey, MacForFun57 says, nobody recognizes me now. Lost 120 pounds of shaved, all the hair on my head. Amazing. Used to be a ponytail guy and goatee. That's amazing, man. Congratulations to you, brother.
He went full Dante.
Yeah, you went full Dante. If you don't know who Dante Fregno is, check it out. So speaking of people like lecturing us, and you family members are giving you a hard time, like if you have a spouse that is not on board, I have movie reviews on my YouTube channel where I review movies that you can watch. There are documentaries on nutrition from a low carb or keto or carnivore even type of position. So you can actually watch, you can watch my review, find out if it's a good movie to watch with your spouse or friend or loved one. wherever, and or even send someone if they have questions like about it. Like, well, aren't you worried about, you know, cholesterol? You can send them, you know, Fat, a documentary, or Fat Fiction, or whatever. You know, these are great documentaries. Give an expert opinion from cardiologists, from sports medicine doctors, from psychologists. It's great. So you get like the whole 360 of professionals all in the movie. So you don't have to watch a bunch of YouTube channels. You can actually watch a professionally made movie that actually has all the arguments really laid out in a nice script, really well written. So, well, guys, listen, it's already 8:30. I don't want to keep you guys much longer. We were only planning this for an hour, but I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and all you people watching too. All 30 of you now. We know we had more earlier, but that's still great. You guys are hung in there, man. That's amazing. Thanks so much for watching. If you like our content, check out Meat Fueled Living. She's got a great page, a lot of great content. Like and subscribe. Subscribe mine. And Dave here is not a YouTuber. We're working on him. Maybe one day he will be. But he's definitely a warrior out there. So I'm going to cut you guys loose, and I'm going to sign out, guys. And you can stay on for a minute. I'll talk to you when we get out, okay?
Roger.
All right. All right. So that's all I got, guys. It's been an absolute wonderful time with you guys. Let's see, we got one more thing. Great content. Thank you. Been a wonderful time with you guys. All I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier, out.